Jason, introduce
Yes,
yourself for the people. I'm visiting you again.
Hi, I'm Jason from Hulu.
Hulu, look at this. I'm just looking at your wall of We're Fabulous. Look at this. You got the Chicago Tribune, you've got the Washington Post, you got everything. So you've been doing very well. That's why I'm back.
Thank
And
you,
we're
Kara.
going to talk about your success. You seem to be doing well in a very bad economy, and also popularity and growth and stuff like that. What do you attribute your success to?
Well, we're working hard. If I were to take a look at the thing that's made the difference, it's been the obsessiveness over the user experience. So
Right.
from the very start, we felt that if you could obsess over the user experience, that people would notice. And
Right.
so that's what we've done from the very start.
Excellent. Well, let's go talk, and then we'll do more interviews.
Sounds great.
Okay, this is a thing, Jason. What defines Hulu? My God, it's like an essay. It looks like our disclosure on our website. Oh my God, it's a lot of definition. And down here it says, my first Hulu experience made my head explode in a brain spray of awesome. I think that should be your motto, a brain spray of awesome. Really cool. So Jason, we've had a fascinating discussion about all sorts of things. Let's talk about where you guys are going. I mean, we talked about other networks and how many people you can get onto Hulu, because more content means more views, more growth. How is that going to work out? Do you think people will come onto Hulu despite the fact that you guys are owned by News Corp and NBC? Or does it matter?
So at the end of the day, what really matters is the user experience. And the reason why I mention that is ComScore just came out with their October numbers, and they had us at about 23 million users, up from 12 million in September. So with the content line that we've got today, users are definitely responding. So you've got almost a doubling in total users from just 1 month to the next. And
Right.
so I think at the end of the day, if we can obsess over the user experience, if we can make a great return for content owners, that's going to lead to more content. Because at the end of the day, the content owners, their job is to create these amazing stories. They invest a lot of money in them, and then they turn to the mode of, okay, let's make sure we can get these in front of the largest possible audience and make a fair return. And if Hulu can provide that, I do think you'll see more and more people coming onto
So
Hulu.
do you become like the YouTube of professional content?
Well, we're certainly focusing,
Right.
we're trying to do something that's uniquely us, and so we're not trying to be the company of anything. We're trying to be Hulu,
Right.
and so for us, that's being able to find and discover the world's premium content, and we're just starting. We're like eight
Right.
months into it, and
Right,
so
exactly.
we're definitely focused on that. It's a very narrow mission.
And how do you look at YouTube as a competitor? They're trying to do premium content suddenly, seeing your success.
Well, I'm not surprised to see a number of companies doing this. In fact, I actually think that you're going to see a lot more companies trying to enter this space, and for good reason. It happens to be a very good business, and it happens to be a very big business potentially. And so I think it's just the start. I think you're going to see a lot of folks enter the space and do their best to create their own unique experience.
And what's going to be the big trend? But YouTube, you see them as the biggest competitor. They've got to be the biggest competitor eventually.
Well, right now, by far, the biggest competitor in this space is the BitTorrent directories.
Right.
So, and that's either
So stealing. Piracy is your biggest competitor.
Piracy really is. I mean, because it's a wonderfully simple business model, which is they don't need to worry about relationships with content owners. They just take the content, and so you get a situation where you can aggregate a tremendous amount of the world's premium content, and there's no advertising, and it happens to be illegal, but that's
except for that.
That's the one flaw to the business model. But by far, if you take a look at the data and the stats and the trends, the piracy sites are by far the biggest.
And how was Hollywood reacting to it first? I mean, they were not reacting well. I remember talking to people, and they're like, we're not giving anything to Hulu. And now they've turned around quite a bit in my discussions. But how do you feel? Where are they now, Hollywood?
So it's as you suggested. We started with 2 content relationships, and now it's over 130 in the last 8 months. And so the response has been good. And I'm not surprised that there was a lot of skepticism and concern at the very start. It's very natural if you look at the history of such things. And so, but there's no doubt that it's moved from a stage of educating folks on, hey, here's what we're trying to do. Here's the name. Here's what the name means, and why our focus is exclusively on premium content. And now it's actually to a point where, hey, how high is up? And so that's why I think so many folks have responded this far.
Right. So you get a lot of things up quickly now too. It's the Simpsons thing with the Apple, which you knew would have a lot of traffic.
Yes.
How quickly is it going to be immediate, or it's now overnight kind of thing? But do you see it ever, broadcasting at the same time as on network television?
It's possible. So if you take a look at the TV premieres this fall, like 30 Rock, for example,
Yeah, it was
and
on.
a lot of it was on actually Hulu before it broadcast in the living room, and that was purely for promotion. It was to get a buzz going, and it did it. 30 Rock was online for 7 days in advance of its premiere, and it actually premiered in the living room to its highest ratings ever. And so I think you'll see more of that. And then where this goes in terms of the next 10, 20 years, I think anybody who suggests how it's going to go doesn't know what they're saying,
Right.
because you can't predict.
Well, that's what I'm going to ask.
the
How's it
future.
going to go? Where are people going to watch this? I watch it on my computer screen. I happen to have a good one. But where do you see it going? What's the next big trend in the video online space?
I think the biggest trend is that it's not necessarily more of the same, but some of the underlying pinnings of a service like Hulu is that you can watch what you want, when you want, how you want, and the how you want is, like you said, whether it's a certain room in your house, whether you're in the car, whether you're on a bus. So the access points being convenient for you, I think, is going to be one of the biggest trends in online video, because the wonderful thing about choosing online as your carriage vehicle is that there's so many devices that are connected to the internet now, compared to 10 years ago. It used to be 10, 15 years ago, the PC or the
Right.
computer was the only thing that was connected to the internet, whereas today you've got refrigerators connected to
Yeah.
the internet. And so those are all devices, mobile devices,
Right.
any devices connected to the internet is something that has a potential to have an interesting Hulu application.
And what's proved to be the most popular?
in terms of like a show?
Yeah, I'm just
or-
curious. What's surprised you?
Well, I'll tell you, a show that has surprised us quite a bit is this show called It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Oh,
It-
interesting.
it's a show that is on FX Networks, and the gentleman that oversees that network, a guy named John Landgraf, has a long history of creating great programming. And this is a show that I personally was not aware of when I got going
Right.
at building Hulu with the team. And it's emerged as our number 2, sometimes number 1 series in the
Wow.
entire service.
Interesting.
And it's not a top 10 program in the living room, for example, but it's such a high quality show, and people truly love it. And so they're
Right.
sampling it on Hulu, then going to watch it in the living room.
Right.
Other times they're watching it on the online environment. But that has been one of the most surprising things that has resonated so well. It's in many ways, when you take away all the barriers to finding content, the best stuff rises to the top. And I
Right.
think It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia is one of the best.
Or maybe it's an online audience likes it better than a mainstream audience.
You get a
perhaps.
little bit of that too. a little
And
bit of that too.
and clips got to be Tina Fey as Sarah Palin, right?
Tina Fey, Sarah Palin, although Family Guy, if you take a look at the whole
Yeah.
library of clips we've
Uh-huh.
got something like 300 plus Family Guy clips. I highly recommend that if anybody wants to laugh quite a bit, just spend an hour looking at the clips of Family
Right.
Guy. They're probably got to be some of the funniest stuff I've ever seen. But you're right, Tina Fey doing Sarah Palin did fantastically well in October.
Great. Thank you so much, Jason. Congratulations on your success.
Thank you, Kara.